My name is Emily Thayer. I am from Wood River High School, and this is my proposition constructive. Now I will begin my time. The prison abolition movement is a movement that seeks to reduce or eliminate prisons and the prison system, and replace them with more humane and effective systems. Because I support this movement, I must affirm the following resolution. This House believes that prisons should be abolished. Contention 1. Prisons hurt communities. Subpoint A. Prisons destabilize communities. Recent studies prove that prisons and rampant policing have served to destabilize our communities, particularly communities of color and poor people. Removal of family members from our community, drained resources for essential social services, and fear of one another are all caused by the prison system. States with multiple prisons and mass amounts of prisoners do not experience any more dramatic drops in crime than states with lower incarceration rates and fewer prisoners. Similarly, counties in California that choose to not strictly enforce the three strikes law experience drops in crime, similar to counties that strictly enforce the law. Subpoint B. Children of single-parent families fall behind. Studies show that many children that are raised by a single parent suffer with social instability, economic hardships, and high exposure to stress due to the absence of a complete family unit. Losing a parent to prison affects multiple aspects of children's lives and affects them to varying degrees. Such a loss can likely have a significant impact on the emotional, psychological, developmental, and financial well-being of the child. The immediate effects can include feelings of shame, social stigma, loss of financial support, weakened ties to the parent, changes in family composition, poor school performance, increased delinquency, and increased risk of abuse or neglect. Long-term effects can range from the questioning of parental authority, negative perceptions of police and the legal system, and increased dependency or parental regression to impaired ability to cope with future stress or trauma, distribution of development, and integration patterns of criminal behavior. Contention 2. Prisons only worsen the situation for the incarcerated. Subpoint A. Mental health. At mid-year 2005, more than half of all prisoners and jail inmates had a mental health problem, including 705,600 inmates in state prisons, 78,800 in federal prisons, and 479,900 in local jails. These estimates represented 56% of state prisoners, 45% of federal prisoners, and 64% of jail inmates. Some of these mental illnesses include severe depression, personality disorders, including post-traumatic stress disorder, suicidal behaviors, distress associated with all forms of abuse, and attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. Subpoint B. Negative environment. Prisoners are not only subjected to bad health care, but are exposed to severe prison violence and gangs. Nearly 1 in 20 prisoners report being sexually abused while serving time. It is clear that prison authorities are not doing enough to prevent these serious crimes. Contention 3. Prisons are not worth the cost. The United States has the highest rate of adult incarceration among the developed countries, with 2.2 million currently in jails and prisons. Without fundamental change in our criminal justice policies, prisons such as the New York State Prison, whose population exceeds 53,000, may rise to more than 65,000 in the next year, and to more than 100,000 long before the end of the decade, a 400% increase in just 2 decades. New York cannot afford the enormous cost, which will most likely exceed $30 billion. The incarceration epidemic costs U.S. taxpayers $63.4 billion a year. Contention 4. Prisons are not the answer. Subpoint A. When someone disobeys the law, they are put in prison, and while I admit some crimes are punishable for a lifetime of imprisonment, these horrendous offenses only account for approximately 2.5 million people locked in U.S. prisons and jails, which is about 1%. Subpoint B. There are many alternatives to prisons. Abolitionists believe that reconciliation is the proper response to criminal acts, not cruel punishment and isolation from society. The present criminal justice system focuses on someone to punish, caring little about the criminal's needs or the victim's loss. The abolitionist response seeks to restore both the criminal and the victim to full humanity, to lives of integrity and dignity in the community. Abolitionists advocate the least amount of coercion and intervention in an individual's life and the maximum amount of care and services to all people in the society. In place of prisons, some abolitionists propose community-controlled courts, councils, or assemblies to control the problem of social crime.